the arms here, this would be more of a anaconda style variation, right? But we can switch it off to a DAS quite easily. If I hit a scissor style movement, so again, we're lifting our legs, we hit that scissor style movement, we start coming up. I'll just angle Nick off here. So we've started to come up. We had our lock here. If we were to pass off behind the head, now we could start talking about DAS territory. So all these are actually interchangeable, and you want to be very good at all three of these variations. So let's look at it again in a more regular style speed. I have Nick in a basic arm in. He starts to roll. I see this, I switch my grips immediately. So we go that palm to palm. We lift our legs and we axe down with the top leg. We pass off to the bicep and we can start applying pressure here for strangle pressure. We can also finish here by scissoring up, forehead posting, and walking to mount. Mount would be one of the stronger finishes. But sometimes when we come up here, Nick starts to turn in and we feel like we're really not getting the right angle to complete this anaconda. So from here, I would maintain my right hand in the back of the tricep here. So say we've come up, Nick starts turning up, I'm now gonna go left hand deep, opposite hand deep here. And now we can start attacking a regular DAS, hand behind the back. How do we finish the DAS? Best way to finish the DAS is to do to our best ability. Try to put Nick flat on his back here. How do we do that? We get our hips high and we start to do that forehead post again. So I get my hips high and we create a pin position here. It's difficult for Nick to move. We walk foot to foot and we step through the mount and we get that quick submission finish. I believe this is the building blocks to understanding these positions, chaining them together with other submission threats. When I first tried to learn, first of all, the DAS, I would always try to catch guys from half guard. Guys would frame and I'd be playing through here, trying to secure our strangle variations from here. But again, it's so obvious. Nick knows exactly what to worry about from this position. However, when we chain it into other attacks, say for example, I were to dive over Nick here to get control over the head. Then we create that palm to palm grip. We start threatening anacondas. We start scissoring to walk up. Nick's turning into us here. So we start threatening the DAS variations again. So again, if the lock's behind the head, we're threatening the DAS. If the lock's behind the armpit, we're threatening anacondas. So I would say, if you want to understand these positions, you need to be able to understand how to chain them into other attacks. If you attack an anaconda or a DAS in isolation, how I'm going to show you later, I believe your ability to finish will be greatly reduced. And most importantly, your ability to get countered is going to be huge. When your attacks are transparent like that, you're really going to run the risk of getting counterattacked. However, through the use of an arm and guillotine thread, causing a rotational style escape, when we start attacking the locks in transition, we have a much better ability to lock our opponent down while reducing their ability to counterattack us. So I'll break these sections down. First section we're going to cover is defense to the anaconda choke. We talked about the basic triple attack. Arm in guillotine, they hit a rotational, we get put in an anaconda, and then obviously ultimately, sometimes we can get put into a DAS out of there, right? So let's look at worst case scenario, we hit a rotational escape and your training partner or opponent fully locks up an anaconda. To give a bit of backstory to the anacondas, when I first started noticing this was actually ADCC 2009 when Rafa Mendes won the ADCC. He had a vicious anaconda choke. I remember he put Cabrini in there very, very deeply. He finished a lot of guys with it. It was kind of I don't believe it was a new submission at the time. I don't believe Rafa invented it, but he was really, really good at that position. He punished wrestlers. People would be scared to shoot because his anaconda was so tight. If you go back and watch him putting Cabrini in there, God knows how Cabrini survived that position. But obviously created a epic rivalry between the two. But yeah, we'll talk about the anaconda again. One of the best guys in the world hit the anaconda choke, Rafael Mendes. So I'm going to hit a rotational escape out of Nick's half guard. guillotine is going to lock up an anaconda. So we're in here, right? I go for the roll. You see Nick makes the necessary adjustments and he traps my arm here. You can see what he does so well is he uses his knee to block my elbow. Obviously, the first thing I want to do is get some sort of open space next to my neck here. The wider my elbow is, the more space I have, but that's not to say that you won't get finished with wide elbows here. Some people's ability to create leverage from this position is so strong, even with wide elbows, we have this problem, right? So if Nick's knee's on top, obviously the first thing we're going to address is this leg here. So we need to push that out of the way immediately. Second thing we want to do is widen that elbow here. The weakest part of Nick's grip here isn't the hand up the back. It is his left hand connected to his right bicep here, or his right hand connected to his left bicep. The shallower this grip is here, the weaker his strangle is, right? So you can see now it's pretty deep. He's got it on the palm there. If he's got it on the palm, very tight grip. If he has shorter arms or he's facing someone with broader shoulders and ends up on the fingertips, this is the reason you're having trouble finishing here. And that's basically because you've thrown it so shallow, it's a fingertip style grip. If it's a fingertip style grip, it's going to be very easy to pop. If he's got the palm connected, he's got it all perfect. What allows him to get that palm connected is using a leg assist here. When he holds my arm down with his knee here, it allows him to open his grips momentarily, really establish that grip, lock it up, and get the tap right. The only time you would ever open this grip is with a leg assist. I like to use a sort of a golf expression, and that is basically play it as it lays. Once this grip's locked, the attacker should never open it. The second Nick goes for an adjustment, he loses the grip. But if he has a leg assist, now my elbow can't broaden, allows him to perfect it. So again, first line of defense, strip this grip. Second line, get our elbow wide. And when I get my elbow wide, I'm not just thinking my right shoulder, which is the space I need, I'm thinking both. Feel the difference with your training partner if you open the right, whereas if you open both. So you can already see it's stressing his grip here. What else we can do, because again, like I said, we need to attack this grip. Once I broaden my shoulders, both of them here, I'm going to go palm over palm. And I really start to push that grip down.